Hello, welcome to Deepdale, where Norwich City have enjoyed a rare FA Cup win, the first in 7 years. They have had a dreadful record in this competition, but they've won 4-2 here at Preston to go through to the fourth round into Monday night's draw, into the hat, as they like to say, and it's not often we've been able to say that with Norwich in this competition in recent years. They'd only made it past the third round in 2 of the last 10 seasons, so this is a bit of a rare treat, made even more special, very special in fact, by the youngest hat-trick scorer in the history of Norwich City, Adam Idah. Idah, not Ida, as we've often been calling him as he's been coming through the youth system. We're told it is Adam Idah is how it should be pronounced, and he has well and truly taken his opportunity with Timu Pukki injured, with Dennis Shabeni having a little back issue, and Josip Dermich still not back from his hamstring injury. Idah, sorry, gonna have to get used to that one, has got the nod today. He starts as one of 8 changes that Daniel Farke made for this FA Cup third round tie, and has well and truly taken his chance, and he took it almost straight away. 5th minute he scores his goal, and from that point on we all know that we've got a really good story on our hands. 18 years old, Republic of Ireland under 21 international. I'm sure you've heard us all raving about him in the youth ranks. Certainly I covered the 17-18 FA Youth Cup run to the quarterfinals when him and Anthony Spyro, Max Aarons were tearing things up for the under 18s, and that's when he first made his impact, when he'd only just been signed in the summer of 2017. And ever since then I think Norwich have known they've got something special on their hands with his ridiculously prolific record at youth levels for Ireland, and he is very highly thought of over in his home country, so there's going to be a lot of hype about him now on the back of this one. Should be said that this was far from the quality of a Premier League game. The intensity, the quality were nowhere near those levels. Preston also made 9 changes, and it was a fairly ridiculously open game at times. There were a lot of chances. Just to look at the shots, Norwich won this one 4-2, but Preston had 19 shots, 9 of which were on target, and 9 corners. Norwich had 52% of the possession, but had 15 shots, 6 on target, and 7 corners. So to say this one has been open is not an understatement. And yes, as I say, it all kicked off with Adam Idah, 5th minute. Marco Stiepermann threads that just the sort of ball that he used to for Timu Pukki in the Championship last season, right through the middle of the Preston defence. Idah had the pace to power away, beat the goalkeeper to the ball, and stroke it into the bottom right corner, and all of a sudden a star is born. And our live updates at pinkin.com were going mad, wanting to know more about who Idah was and how he was playing. And very quickly, before the half an hour mark anyway, Onel Hernandez makes it 2-0, and that's partly because of an error from the Preston keeper Connor Ripley, who had a pretty shaky first half, as did Preston overall really, letting a Hernandez shot slip through his gloves and in off the post. Decent shot from Onel across the keeper, but made him work, and the keeper sort of failed in his job really. And it was 3-0 before the break, with Idah scoring a quite spectacular goal, which I'd imagine you're going to see quite a few times on the FA Cup highlights in the TV packages. Again, Ripley at fault. Stiepermann had played Onel Hernandez clean through. Ripley wins the race to the loose ball, but basically just passes it straight to Idah, who is out on the left wing and has the opportunity of an unguarded net from about 35 yards, takes it with his left foot, and that's 3-0 at half-time. 2 goals for Adam Idah, and his career is launched. Just days after we had reports of a potential loan move. We had heard from sources close to the club that a loan was likely in January, but these injury issues have given him a totally different chance. And it was only 2-3 days ago that I was writing a story about Doncaster Rovers fans who'd convinced themselves that Adam Idah was heading there based on some of the comments from Darren Moore, their manager, to the local press. So how quickly things turn around. And of course Norwich go to Old Trafford next Saturday in the Premier League, so he's certain to be on the bench, I'd have said, for that one. If Timu Pukki hasn't recovered from his toe and hamstring issues, which I don't think are major, it's more a case of resting him for today, then who knows, he might even be starting against Manchester United. Apologies if you can hear a little bit of noise going on around. It's the TV guys putting the cameras away and things like that, but I don't think you'll pick that up too much. But as I say, the second half became very frantic. Idah actually missed a chance very early in the second half. Stiepermann floated a cross in and he nodded a header just beyond the back post. That would have been a perfect hat-trick at that point. But then Billy Bowden pulls one back for Preston, 48th minute. A corner comes in, it's headed goalwards, and he gets up in front of Michael McGovern, who is at such close range, has got no chance really. Bowden nods it past him. Jamal Lewis is on the line, so he's onside, and McGovern's kind of got no chance with that one. And then they nearly made it 3-2 straight afterwards when their captain Ben Davies headed just wide from a corner. So they really had to weather the storm from Preston, who had clearly got a rocket at half-time from Alex Neil, I would imagine. As we know, he will not have taken kindly to his team being almost humiliated in that way by his former club, losing 3-0 at half-time. But they did ride out the storm. Tom Tribal fired a shot just over in the 58th minute, and then Eder gets his hat-trick. He is played clean through by Steeperman again, goes around the keeper, but Ripley brings him down. It's a yellow card. It's probably the right decision given that a penalty is also awarded as well. Then it looked like Todd Cantwell and Mo Leitner were discussing who should take the penalty, but they came to the right decision, gave it to Adam, and he was able to tuck it home. We've seen at youth levels he's good from the penalty spot, and he thumped that one bottom right corner. That's 4-1 and pretty much game put to bed. And Preston did make a game of it late on. Their fans did respond to the way that they played in the second half. To be fair, they gave it a good go. There was a few dodgy moments for Michael McGovern in goal, and Josh Harrop did make it 4-2 with 5 minutes left, but in the end Norwich were able to see it out, and they go into the draw which is on Monday night for the 4th round. And all in all, a very positive day. I mean, the performance, as I say, I'm not sure how much we can read into it. The changes that were made, just to quickly rattle through the team: McGovern came in goal with Tim Krul on the bench. Sam Byram was switched to right back with Max Aarons getting a rest. Jamal Lewis came in on the left. Christoph Zimmerman continued in central defence, so it was Grant Hanley that got the rest and went onto the bench. Zimmerman wore the armband, and Ibrahim Amadou had to play at centre back, which I wouldn't have thought he was too chuffed about, although he did play the last 20 minutes in defensive midfield when Hanley came on to shore things up. Then in midfield it was Mo Leitner and Tom Tribal playing. That's the first time we've seen Leitner for 2 months, so all those sort of whispers of fallout and things like that can be put to bed, as Daniel had insisted there had not been. He was taken off at half-time of the 3-1 home defeat to Manchester United at the end of October, was on the bench at Brighton at the start of November, and then we've not seen him since. So he was back in. In front of them, you had Cantwell playing on the right, Steeperman in the sort of 10 role, Hernandez on the left, and of course Eder up front. So you've got 8 changes from the last Premier League team there, but mostly players who have been playing recently, so we're in a decent flow. I think Steeperman is probably one that would come out with credit. Hernandez was a bit sloppy with his defensive work here and there and seemed to waste a few chances to pull the trigger. Eder in general play was pretty good as well. He put himself about. There was one just after his hat-trick goal, which was in front of the away fans as well, so he was able to punch the air in celebration for that one. And straight after that, he closed down one of their centre-backs and stopped them clearing long up the pitch and put the ball out for a throw, and that got a big cheer as well. And he was replaced by Kenny McLean with 5 minutes left, and real heroes ovation, I suppose, hat-trick heroes ovation for Eder as he went off the pitch from the 800 Norwich fans who were here. Only 7,700, I think it was, the attendance here today. So the FA Cup magic maybe not quite here at Deepdale, but certainly FA Cup positivity for Norwich, which is very welcome given their current Premier League position. I think that's pretty much everything covered. How much we can take from this into Premier League matters, I'm not sure. We do now know that Norwich will be playing on that final Saturday of the month, which I think is the 28th of January. So if you had plans that weekend, you may want to think again. We'll see whether it's at home or away. But given the season Norwich are having, let's not worry too much about about picking holes in this one. Let's just enjoy a 4-2, an entertaining 4-2 with a real good storyline running through the middle of it, of the youngest ever hat-trick scorer for Norwich City, Adam Eder, not 19 yet. Craig Bellamy did score one when he just turned 19, so that's who he nips in front of. And I just saw a tweet from NCFC Numbers on Twitter who said the only 2 players to score a hat-trick in their first 2 appearances for the club are Adam Eder and Grant Holt. So if he can follow in those footsteps, and he's going to do very well. But it's clear Norwich have got a real prospect on their hands. Thanks very much for watching. We'll get back into Premier League mode later in the week, but for now, enjoy all the FA Cup report, reaction and analysis over at pinkun.com, and we will catch up with you very soon.